How's it going? This video is on division with fractions. Before we get to division, we first need to talk about what a reciprocal is. If the product of two numbers is 1, we say that they are reciprocals of each other. To find a reciprocal of a fraction, interchange the numerator and denominator. So here are some examples. If we have a fraction that's 3/4, its reciprocal is 4/3. We simply interchange the numerator and denominator. We flip the fraction. And notice to the right, I wrote that 3/4 times 4/3 is 1 because the 3's would line out and the 4's would line out, and you'd just be left with 1 times 1, which is 1. Anyway, so to find the reciprocal of a number, all we do is interchange the numerator and denominator. You flip the fraction. That's called a reciprocal. So 5/17, the fraction is 17/5. And then if we have a number, a whole number, 6, well then its reciprocal would be 1/6, because remember the whole number 6 is equal to 6/1. Anytime you have a whole number, you could always put a 1 underneath it. So then when you flip the fraction, it would be 1/6. Okay, this is called a reciprocal. The only number that does not have a reciprocal is 0, because the reciprocal of 0/1 is 1/0, which is undefined. So there's only one number that doesn't have a reciprocal. Okay, if you need to see that, just make sure you rewind it a little bit, go back to the beginning, and start that just to write those notes down. But the reciprocal isn't too bad. You just flip the fraction. Okay, division. Now here's our procedure. For dividing a fraction by another fraction, change any mixed numbers to improper fractions. So that's step 1. If we have any mixed numbers, we have to change it to improper fractions. Number 2, rewrite the problem, changing the division sign to a multiplication sign, and invert the fraction that originally followed the division symbol into its reciprocal. So we're going to change division to multiplication, and then we're going to flip the second fraction. And then we're right back to multiplying. Follow the procedures of multiplying fractions. Sometimes people will say this phrase, keep, change, change, meaning keep the first fraction, change the division symbol, and then change the second fraction. So just keep that in mind. Keep, change, change. You might want to write that down in your notes there. Keep, change, change. Okay, so step 1. There are no mixed numbers to change to improper, so that's not to worry about. Now, here we go. We're going to rewrite the problem. We're going to change the division to multiplication and invert. That means flip the second fraction into its reciprocal. Okay, so keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and then change the second fraction. So that becomes 12/25 times 35/18. So remember the first fraction, just bring that one straight down. Keep that one exactly the way it is. Change division to multiplication, and then change the second fraction. Flip the second fraction into its reciprocal. Okay, now we can do some reducing. Let's see, we can reduce the 12 and 18 by 6, and the 25 and 35 by 5. So 6 goes into 12 twice, 6 goes into 18 3 times, and then 5 goes into 25 and 35. 5 goes into 25 5 times, 5 goes into 35 7 times, and now we can multiply straight across. We didn't use the prime factorization this time because the numbers weren't that big. Cross-canceling is always much easier. The numbers are pretty small. But if you do have big numbers, then it's a good idea to do the prime factorization so that we don't miss any reducing. Okay, let's do another problem. 1 1/6 divided by 4 2/3. Might want to pause the video and then work on this one yourself. And then we'll work it out when you come back. Remember, this one has mixed numbers, so you know you're going to have to change them into improper fractions first. Okay, let's get started. So change the mixed numbers to improper fractions. So the first fraction would be 1 times 6 is 6, plus 1 is 7/6. And then the second fraction we're going to multiply and then add. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14, so 14/3. Okay, now we're going to rewrite it. Change division to multiplication and invert the second fraction into its reciprocal. Keep, change, change. Now we're going to do our reducing. 7 and 14 by 7, and the 3 and 6 by 3. Seven goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 14 twice, and 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 6 twice. Now we can multiply across. That gives us 1/4. Remember, we have to write the 1 in the numerator. If the answer were 4/1, then 4/1 is equal to 4. But 1/4 is still equal to 1/4. Okay, let's go on. Well, this one also has a mixed number, and then there is a whole number, the whole number 3. Remember that you could write a 1 underneath any whole number. So you might want to pause the video and work on it on your own. And then click on play when you're ready to see the workout problem. Okay. Change the mixed numbers to improper fractions. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. That would be 9/4, and then divided by 3/1. Step 2. Let's rewrite it. Change division to multiplication and invert the second fraction. So keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and change the second fraction. Keep, change, change. And now we're going to do some reducing. The only thing that reduces is a 3 and 9. Three goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 9 3 times. Answer is 3/4. Alright, let's move on. Well, we're going to start talking a little bit about word problems here. Now let's think about division. Division is an operation where an amount is being divided into groups. For example, if you have $20 to divide among 4 people, how much would each person get? Well, they would get $5, right? So we're taking that $20 and we're dividing it by 4. And also note that the total must be written first. So the way we wrote it, 20 divided by 4, that second number would go in front of the division box if we wrote it that way. So just keep in mind that the total must be written first. And this is important because division is not commutative. Multiplication is commutative, addition is commutative, but division and subtraction are not commutative. So there's an example, 20 divided by 4 is not the same as 4 divided by 20. See, 20 divided by 4 means if you have 20 bucks and you divide it by 4 people, each one gets 5 bucks. But 4 divided by 20 means if you have $4 and you divide it by 20 people, well, see, each one is only going to get, some change, right? $4 divided by 20 people. Okay, so let's keep going. A certain size bottle holds exactly 2/3 pints of liquid. So less than a pint. Bottle holds less than a pint. How many of these bottles can be filled from a 12-pint container? Sometimes I like to think about, what the answer should be first of all. Let's say we were putting this 12-pint container, we were filling the bottles, and each bottle hold 1 pint of liquid. Well, how many bottles could be filled? How many 1-pint bottles could be filled from a 12-pint container? Well, that would be 12, right? Now, 2/3, is that more than a pint or less than a pint? That's less than a pint. So, should our answer be more than 12 bottles or less than 12 bottles? It should be more than 12 bottles because this is less than 2/3. Anyways, just to kind of think about what kind of answer we should get before we actually perform the operation. Now, what kind of problem is this? It's a division problem because the quantity is being separated into groups. We have a quantity of 12 pints, and we're breaking up that 12 pints into 2/3 of a pint. So we're seeing how many bottles we could fill from that 12 pints. That's a division problem. Also remember that we have to write the total quantity first. Which one of those numbers is the total quantity? The 12. 12 is a total quantity. So it's a division problem, and you have to put the 12 first. So what we're going to do is perform the operation of 12 divided by 2/3. Okay, so now we're going to keep the first fraction, change division to multiplication, and then flip the second fraction. Keep, change, change. Remember to put a 1 underneath the 12. Might want to pause and work it out. Okay. Change the multiplication, reduce, and multiply. So 12 over 1 times 3 over 2. We can reduce the 2 and 12. 2 is in a 2 once, 2 is in 12 6 times. And multiply across. 18 bottles. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. Okay, I believe that's our last example. Yep. So I'll see you here for the next video. Have a good day.